Good evening. Welcome to Live United. Living United, an opportunity to hear about all the great programs out there in the Monadnock region affecting our citizens and changing their lives. And today I'm joined by Tara Rogers. Tara joins me from Southwestern Community Services and is responsible for the energy services programs. And energy services sounds like a big name, but it's really a critical part of the programming that's offered here in the Monadnock region that really changes people's lives and lots of times allows them to remain in their homes during the cold season or even during the hot season because you know, one of the things, Tara, you're going to talk with us about is both the weatherization program and the fuel assistance program. So why don't we start with fuel assistance, because winter will be here sooner than we probably want it to be.
Yeah.
So what's happening with fuel assistance already?
Well, currently we are actually open for this season. We have started taking applications. We've been taking applications from the elderly, children under the households with the children under the age of 5, the disabled, people that receive wood benefits, and we've probably already accepted approximately 400 applications this season.
Wow. Now, is that about normal this time of year?
Yes, we try to do as many of the households that we can in the very beginning to be able to have them access their benefit as soon as possible or to get a head start on the season.
Now, you mentioned seniors, people with disabilities, people with young children who may be in benefit situations, and people that are on the wood
Yes.
program already.
Yes.
Now, these folks, do they have to come to your offices based in Keene, or are you out there in the Monadnock region?
Well, actually, we have 2 offices. We have one located here in Keene, and we also have another location in Claremont, so for Cheshire and Sullivan counties. And they're both open Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30. And to start off, they can contact one of the local offices. The main number is 603-352-7512, and you would call to initially set up an appointment, and at the time you ask to speak to a fuel assistant associate, and they will have a brief conversation with you to determine where you are at in the household, and they will tell you what kind of items, depending on your situation, to bring in. And then you come to your appointment day, come to the front desk, and it basically, on average, takes about 15 minutes. It's really easy.
So is there income eligibility guidelines attached to this?
Yes, there are. We do have income eligibility guidelines, and you can read up on those on our website at www.scshelps.org under the fuel assistance page. And basically, depending on how many people live in the household, how many rooms, there's a couple of various factors that play into that, but yes.
So anybody in the Monadnock region who may be struggling right now or may be receiving benefits, whether they be Social Security benefits or SNAP benefits, should be in contact with you to see if they're eligible for this program. And when you say fuel assistance, is that oil, propane, electric? Are there any limitations for people?
It's very, to my knowledge, it's oil, propane, kerosene, wood. We also do wood pellets. So it's pretty diverse, and we start from the beginning of the season with all of those. Yeah.
And so would you really be encouraging people to reach out now and not wait until that first snowstorm where they maybe find themselves in an unusual situation? And do you run out?
Yes, I would recommend that anybody apply, even if you think you may not be eligible, because people are very surprised at what, even if you look and you think your income is over, I would still recommend that you apply, because later on in the season, somebody may actually turn out to be eligible for other programs. But coming in, we can also refer you to different programs within the agency or within the area. So it is very beneficial to come in and then apply.
So really they can be screened, and even though they may not be eligible for that particular service, they may be eligible for something else that you're aware of out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is the time for people to get in and really be looking at that fuel assistance piece. Now let's talk about weatherization, because that's another program and service that's provided.
Yeah, it's a wonderful program. We have a very large waiting list of about 1,200 people, and we serve about 50 customers, give or take, each year. And I know that seems overwhelming, but the 50 households that do receive our benefit, it makes a huge difference in a variety of ways for each family member that lives in the household. To be eligible, you would have to make sure when you come in and you apply for fuel assistance, you have to be eligible for fuel assistance. And at the time of the application, they'll ask if you would like to be, if you would consider weatherization, and then that begins the process.
Now, for the weatherization, do they have to be a homeowner for that?
No, not necessarily. It could be actually also a landlord. It could be somebody that's renting. The landlord, the renter would have to contact the landlord, and we can also reach out. There are certain circumstances where we can do multi-family units. There's a lot of there's different criteria and things that may or may not affect the decision on eligibility, but it could also be a renter as well.
So when you say weatherization, is that things like new windows or insulation?
Yep, absolutely. We try to do everything we can to help the house conserve energy and become more energy efficient, which helps the fuel assistance benefit go longer, and help with your electricity bill as well. But we do insulation. We do a lot of different just buttoning up the home. It's not for aesthetics, but it's to help with the heat.
Mm-hmm. Now, weather isn't just the cold months. I know there's the hot months too, and I believe that you provide some level of service even during the warmer months.
Yes, in fact, actually, with the funds with the United Way that we had this summer, we have helped several homes where breathing has been a problem, and we've helped with air conditioners, and weatherization has helped install them in the home. So it's been extremely helpful this summer. We've done quite a few of them.
And it's been such a hot summer, and
Yes.
And I have asthma, so I know I can speak to it, because we have air conditioning in the house, because it makes it a lot easier to breathe.
Yes.
In the humidity and the temperatures that we've had. As we move into further into the year, what are some of your needs that you have right now for these two programs?
Well, basically, the biggest thing is going to be making sure that people call really as soon as they can, and not wait till there's an emergency. That's the biggest thing, because we don't want somebody to be struggling and coming in and have a lot of anxiety and being stressed, because it affects a lot of different factors, from the fuel companies and the delivery, and it also subtracts from their benefit to do an emergency delivery. So it's really best to try to call us as soon as possible to come in. Our season actually opens, the funds will be dispersed beginning December 1st of this year, but we start doing and accepting as many applications as we can up front before that happens.
Now, I know in the past you've gone out to places like Winchester and some other locations. Will you be doing that this year?
Yes, we do. We do have an outreach schedule where we go to various locations throughout Cheshire and Sullivan County. They're going to be starting mid to end August and going through October. And we also do evening appointments as well, beginning in September. So for the individuals that can't come during the day because they're working or they have, things going on during the day, we have evening appointments as well. And those get booked pretty quickly.
Now, where would people find information regarding the outreach schedule?
Yeah, the best thing to do would be to they can contact myself, my email is trogers, ROGERS, at scshelps.org. And I would be more than happy to find out, where you're located and what are the closest outreaches. Another thing is just to call the main office and ask to speak to a fuel assistance technician, and they can provide that info as well.
One of the great things about Southwestern Community Services is its relationship with other providers. It really does a lot of collaborating and coordinating of service. You talked a little bit about if you couldn't provide service, that there may be something else that people could be referred to. What are some of the types of things that, it just makes sense for someone to reach out to you because you may be able to help them with this other type of service?
Yep, we do have a variety of different places that we refer folks, whether it be another program within our agency, sometimes the city of Keene or the city of Claremont or the city that the individual lives in. We've worked with Salvation Army, and we also have this fund through the United Way called Warm Dollars. And if it wasn't for the United Way, we wouldn't have the ability to use Warm Dollars. And Warm Dollars is set up for individuals that do not qualify. They come in and apply for fuel assistance and they find themselves in a desperate or really difficult situation, and we don't have to turn them away. We have the ability to help them, whether it be a disconnect notice off an electric bill or have a minimum delivery. So depending on the situation, we do have the Warm Dollars Fund through the United Way to help with those.
And what's wonderful is that funding is through our donors, you folks out there who are watching today, because that comes into the United Way and flows back out into our community to services such as what Tara's talking about here, the Warm Dollars Fund. What's really unique about that, and I've talked to a lot of other United Ways in the country, it sort of meets a gap area almost, because some people don't fit into the income guidelines, but they may have an unusual situation, where they just can't make ends meet right in that moment. And you could be a person of any age, and we oftentimes see that happening. I know we see it even with our food pantries here in the region, that sometimes people just can't make ends meet in a particular month.
Yep, absolutely. People find themselves in situations throughout their life in different stages where, the elderly, they have fixed income and they may be over $5, but they so desperately need our help, and we're able to provide that for them. And people could be working full time and having to pay for their food and their child care and all the different bills, rent, mortgage, and when everything is all said and done, they don't have the funds to be able to help with the fuel costs, and so that's a big thing. And we definitely encourage everybody to apply, even if you think you may not be eligible. Later in the season, this past year, we did actually have some funding last minute through the state for the people that were denied previously in the year, and we were able to help out an extra 125 customers just because they applied during the beginning of the year. So we definitely encourage that. It makes a big difference in the end.
So now's the time.
Absolutely.
Don't miss out on this, because the other thing is, you can only have so many. It only goes so far. And that's one of the things we were talking about on one of our previous shows, is that the campaign dollars, for example, that come in through the United Way can never be enough to completely support all the people that are in need of these services. It's why we always have a goal, but always try to exceed that goal, because we know the needs greater than what the resources are that are out there. And in this case, the dollars that come in for fuel assistance, in particular from the state and the federal levels, those are limited.
Yes.
So you have to limit the number of people that you can serve. And to have 1,200 people on a waiting list for weatherization, I think speaks to that need.
Yes, it definitely does. And there are so many times where we do go into somebody's home and do an audit and a pre-screen, and for various reasons we might not necessarily be able to do the home. But for the 50 plus individuals that do receive it, it makes a world of difference. Their anxiety, their stress of paying bills. It's just a wonderful program.
Well, and we know that, energy savings and really being able to take care of your home properly, to have that happen for you can make a difference, because it allows people to take those resources, those financial resources, and potentially put them towards something else. And that could be food or childcare or transportation or, other basic needs they may have, or mental health services or something else that they're in need of. So, it's a puzzle out there in our world, and we are always trying to share that through this show, how interconnected everything is, because, people can look at it and say, well, that's, I don't want to give to people's oil bills. But when you're giving to someone's oil bill, you may be giving to someone's child who is having a big brother, big sister, or is able to get food on the table. So it's all connected.
Yes, and 100% of any donation that we receive for fuel assistance goes directly to the customer. We do not use it for admin or anything else. It goes directly towards the customer, and a little bit really does go a long way for somebody in need.
Now, I know for both of these programs you can't use a lot of volunteers, because the weatherization program requires skilled laborers to really be doing the weatherization work. But people obviously have an opportunity to do some advocacy here, because the need is greater than what the resources are that are being generated. What would you recommend if people want to advocate for, better fuel assistance, better weatherization programs?
Well, I think the biggest thing is to speak out and to talk to different programs or resources within the area, and know that when a donation is made, it's 100% of it does go back to the community.
And, we sit in the unique position at the United Way, and especially as staff, being able to see that, because, all the programs are vetted through an allocations process by volunteers. Those volunteers look very thoroughly at each of the programs and the need that's being met out there, the impact that it's having on the people that they're serving. And ultimately, we're then monitoring that, every 6 months, in fact. And so we can see how things are progressing. One of the things we can see with the work that you're doing right now is that the need's probably going to be great this year. So we're really encouraging you, audience, to get involved by either giving through the United Way or somehow connecting and being an advocate for better resources to be generated for programs like weatherization and fuel assistance, because they are critical in terms of basic needs and helping people stay in their homes safely, and most importantly, I think, to really have thriving citizens out there. And I think of our children and our families and all of our citizens, and we want them all to be well and living life well here in the Monadnock region.
Yes.
So Tara, any last thoughts you want to share with our audience?
Just to reach out to our programs, the main number in the Keene office is 603-352-7512, and then in the Claremont location it's 603-542-9528. I apologize, 9528.
And audience, if you can't remember those phone numbers, you can also go to the Southwestern Community Services website at
scshelps.org, and we also have a Facebook page as well.
So you can go to either of those locations. You can also call 211. Here in New Hampshire, 211 is a free referral line. If you contact that number, they will direct you straight to Tara and Southwestern Community Services. You can also call us locally here at the United Way at 352-4209. Audience, I want to thank you for joining us. Tara, I want to thank you for joining us as well.
It was nice to be here. Thank you.
It's great to have you. But, you know, what we didn't share is that you're relatively new in the position here. So we welcome you.
Thank you.
I don't know if you're new to the Monadnock region,
Yes.
but we welcome you to the Monadnock region, welcome you to the community, and are so thankful we have people, great people like you providing services like this. So audience, thank you for joining us. I want to remind you to remember, give, volunteer, advocate, live united.